Hello, everybody. At last, we're here. Hello, fellow nerds. How's everybody?
Wow.
Yay. Um,
Yay.
Thank you all for your patience as we're constantly having to kind of move things around, and I really appreciate your patience. We are recording all these trainings, so we'll be sending out those links again with the slides and the recording link. So if you've missed any of them, or if you can't stay the entire time for this one, or if you just really want to nerd out or have something help you fall asleep at night, you can recordings. And I appreciate everyone taking the time to join today. All right, let me get my slides going. And this is being recorded too, as we were just saying. So Um, if you feel like hiding or something, please, now's the time. Where's everybody um coming from today? Who's here? I see some familiar faces.
Kentucky. Kentucky.
All
North
right.
Carolina.
Yay.
Maine.
Yay. Any other state reps?
Texas.
Woohoo.
I'm in Minnesota.
Okay. Okay, so Texas, are you a Houston, Texans fan?
Every now and again.
Okay, 'cause they're playing the Patriots next Sunday, so I'm in Boston.
Oh, awesome.
Yes, but I grew up watching the Dallas Cowboys and the Houston Oilers because I grew up in Texas. So I have conflicting feelings about Sunday.
House divided.
Yes. Continue to share. Okay, are you guys seeing my screen?
Yes. Uh-huh. Yeah.
Okay. I feel like I'm in. Do you ever have one of those days where you feel like you're like swimming in peanut butter or something? Like things are just not clicking. The circuits are not operating. That's how I'm feeling right now. So bear with me and chime in if you have anything to offer. This is, my passion, as I've mentioned before, um, talking about state advocacy. I spend a lot of time talking to you guys about federal advocacy, and it's been really important to me to make sure that the profound autism population is represented in DC in federal legislation. The reality is, most of the change um, that's going to impact your day-to-day lives is going to take place in your states. So whether you're thinking of leading some kind of effort in your state, or if you just want to understand what's going on in your state, no matter what your motives are, if you have a heart for people with profound autism and you just want to engage in state advocacy, hopefully these trainings will have helped inform you. So today we're going to talk about some really important things, communications, and then keeping track of legislation around profound autism or specific bills that you know about that could be related to profound autism too, that might not mention it specifically. So some of you may have heard this before. I think it's so good to always to just kind of know what's going on and refresh yourselves. I learn all the time too, constantly. So anyway, but if you have a question, feel free to raise your hand, or if you have any kind of story you want to share or experience, please do. But just know we're recording you, so this will go on your permanent record. All right, so we're going to talk about voter voice messaging. When we talk about communications, we're going to talk about social media. We're going to talk about our website and how you can use it if you want to. All of these things are things that you guys have access to. These are things that we at Profound Autism Alliance have, purchased, and we support it. And so we want you to be able to use it as a tool in your states, if it's helpful. No pressure. You don't have to use them, but I've been doing state advocacy for 20 years now. And this is the secret sauce. Like if you really want to try to get something done and you're not getting anywhere, don't keep doing the same things over and over again. Try some new things. And we have tools and resources to help you with that. So I want to make sure you guys know that. And then also hear from you, like I said. Okay. Come on, little thing. Move forward. There you go. All right. So the power of voter voice. So how many of you know what I'm even talking about when I'm like, hey, voter voice? Anybody? Class? Bueller? Yes, Kim, my mainer. Talk to me about
Oh yeah.
voter.
It's just it's an easy way for an organization to just get a lot of people to respond, and it's just such minimal effort for the people that respond, and you can elaborate too.
Mhm.
So
That's Thank you. That's right. And so our goal at Profound Autism Alliance, one of them is to, when we do things, we really try, and sometimes we fall short. We're constantly learning, but we really want to try to make things as easy for people who are engaging as possible because I've walked in your shoes. I do walk in your, not literally, but I do walk in your shoes as the caregiver of a young man with profound autism, and I have a job and a family and lots of things going on. I never can keep the laundry done. Like life is just complicated. And so I don't want when I need you to contact a legislator or a regulator or somebody like that, I don't want you to have to go to this screen and copy and paste something over to your email and then figure out who you need to send it to and all these steps. So that's why we have this tool called Voter Voice, and it will automate so many things. And so for you, if you're working on something in your state, so Anne, I'm going to use you as an example because I know you guys have been working on cameras in classrooms for a while. So let's say there's a bill about cameras in classrooms in Kentucky this year. I don't know if you heard me, Anne. I used you as an example. Um, but let's say we want to, the bill
Thank
has
you very much.
Yes, the bill has been filed. This is all, I'm just making this up as I go. Um, and we want to make sure all of our Kentucky constituents know about the bill, and we want them to ask their legislators. Again, I'm just making this up because I don't know where we are in the process. We want them to ask their legislators to co-sponsor the bill. So all Anne needs to do is send an email to advocacy@profoundautism.org, and we can set up a voter voice message. And in voter voice, what I can do is just very quickly and easily send a message just to our Kentucky people. And it will create what we call an action alert. And then they just click a button and they ask their legislator to co-sponsor the bill or whatever it is. You guys have seen us do this lot of things federally, where we'll say like, hey, contact your member of Congress about this or that. And then you click the button, and then you share your personal story and you hit send. Is there anybody here who's done that? I mean, I know some of you have because I've seen it. So anybody want to share kind of what it's like to take action on an action alert? I'm making you guys talk today. Don't make
I
me.
have a question. So
Sure.
are you saying if legislators hear from enough constituents that they're more likely to co-sponsor the bill?
Of course, not necessarily, but it certainly is important to ask. Um, and there are different deadlines in states for co-sponsorship, and sometimes co-sponsorship, people will co-sponsor a bill, and then at the end of the day, they end up not voting for it. Like things change over session. But yes, I would say with any issue, kind of the general rule of thumb is if a legislator gets an email or two about something from their own constituents, so people who live in their district, they might pay attention. They're not the ones reading those emails, it's their staff, right? Reading the emails, their assistants or their legislative aides. If they get 10 emails about something, They may be like, huh. If they get 20, they're going to be like, wow, I have 20 constituents. Now, you don't want every email to be exactly the same. So that's why when we send out these action alerts, we ask you to share your story because we want them to know this is not some bot, that's just hitting them. We want to make it personal. But yes, when legislators hear from their constituents, at a minimum, it gets their attention. And some legislators, not all, but many in many states, count how many emails they get on an issue. So they'll just say, well, how many did I get on the autism thing today? And if they got 30 emails, then they'll be like, oh, I better stop and look at that. When you think about a day in the life of a legislator in a state house or in Congress too, they have so many things going on and they have transportation, they have disability, they have taxes, they have budget. Like they have all these people yelling at them about different things. Somebody might need a flag raised over the Capitol in the name of their grandma. Like there's a million things going on. So you do have to be able to get their attention. And a lot of times too, it doesn't happen with every single email, but what happens when you're just constantly exposing yourself to someone, over time, you might actually create a connection where they're like, hey, you know what? You live in a town that my grandma lives down the street, or it's important in some way. So just those communications really matter. So I strongly encourage you, if you're working on a bill this session, send us an email and let's create an advocacy timeline of messaging using voter voice. It's so easy to do, but I'm not going to do it if I don't hear from you. I need you to send me the bill, and then we can just be like, okay, let's work on co-sponsors. When you have a bill that's going to a committee, you should have grassroots reaching out to that committee. And you can do that through voter voice. You can do it not only through emails like we usually do. Sometimes, some of we do texts. We can do Twitter messages to legislators on voter voice. So it just creates that communication line between us and legislators, us and the governor, us and different agency heads. But I just need you guys to talk to me when you need something like that done. Does that make sense to you? Does anybody have questions?
Hey, Judith, it's David Dross. I have a question. Where would we go to actually kind of, for lack of a better term, kick around voter voice and just sort of see, what it looks like and its functionality and so forth?
I mean, if you want to nerd out sometime, if anybody, I mean, additional to the nerding out that we're doing currently, I'm happy to do, a drive session where you can look at it. I'm the operator of Voter Voice. You guys
Okay.
can't sign into it. Like we
Okay.
use Voter Voice as a platform, and then we have like a certain number of seats. So the way for you to access it is just to send me an email and tell me what you
Got
need.
it.
And
Okay.
then, I mean, I have done a billion of these like through the years. So um, I can quickly get something out. So
Judith,
um,
did,
yeah,
did you use voter voice to send out the proclamation day
yes,
request?
I did. Yeah, I did. So
Kentucky Senate, and both my reps are doing that, rep and Senate. So,
that's
okay.
great.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was so easy. It was so easy. And
it's
they
so easy.
right away, even though they fight me on the camera bill, they were all for this. Maybe they're throwing me a bone. I don't know.
Yes, probably. And you're going to get there. The secret is to not give up. So, but
Yeah.
yeah, if you are working on a bill, send an email to advocacy at profoundautism.org. I'm happy to meet with you and like we could brainstorm a timeline of, hey, this week let's send this, next week let's send that. It doesn't involve a lot of like effort on your part. Honestly, all you have to tell me is what the bill is and what's going on with it. And I have so many different templates set up in Voter Voice for like, we need co-sponsoring. We need the committee members to vote for this. Like, if the bill's going to the floor, now we need to make sure everybody's voting for it. So it's a super easy system to use and it's a very effective tool. It's not the only tool. And sometimes you might run into, and this is the exception, I would say by far, but sometimes you'll meet legislators who say, I don't want to hear from a bunch of people. I don't like that. There are those cranky pants out there who don't like to get tons of emails. So we learn who those people are over time, and then we kind of work around that too. But it's all about connections. So I would just ask you guys, please don't hesitate to take advantage of this. It's here for you. I don't want to just use it federally. I want to use it in your states. But I'm just me. And I would actually love to be in all your states with you because that's really one of my favorite things to do is to persevere and make things happen in the states. It's God's work and I love it. But I can't. But what I can do is be your support team and like help you send out grassroots emails. We have contacts in all 50 states that we've built. Like some of your states have more than others, your bigger states or whatever, but that's also how you grow your grassroots network, right? How do you grow it? You send out a message like this, and then you write on the message, please forward this message to your grandma and your Sunday school teacher or whoever, your neighbors, and ask them to take action too. And then you can build your grassroots network that way, through voter voice. So it's not complicated to access it. All you have to do is send me an email, tell me what you need, and then we'll get it done. I would say on your emails, how many of you are familiar with the acronym TLDR? Anyone? Anyone?
No.
Okay, guys, you can use this moving forward. Who knows what TLDR stands for? Too long, didn't read. So have you ever gotten one of those emails that's like 30 paragraphs long and like you've got a lot of other emails in your inbox and your kids are like running around and
Yeah.
your dog's chasing the mailman down the street. So you don't have time to maybe read all of it. So you can put a section at the top and we call that the TLDR section. And you put it one bullet or two at the top that says, here's the summary. Too long, didn't read? Here's your summary. So anyway, keep that in mind because if you send me an email that's super long, then and there's 50 states, like it's much harder for me to consume all that. So, be succinct. And if I miss anything, I will, before we ever send out something to your state, I'll do a test email to make sure it looks right. And if you want to receive the test email and look at it first before it goes out, just let me know. And I'll make sure that we send you a test first so you can read it and be like, okay, this looks good. So we can do that. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Boy, I talked a long time about voter voice, but it is a really important tool. And I don't want you to blow off that grassroots messaging. So, all right. And I was talking and was like talking and not moving my slides forward. So, like I said, when you might use it, if you want to share stories with legislators, if a bill's introduced, bills being heard in committee, bill votes, action alerts are customized. And we also know how many people take action. So that's nice too. So we know, like if legislators say, oh, I haven't heard from anyone, I can say, actually, you've heard from 339 of your constituents this week, So anyway, okay. So the other big tool is social media. And I know many of you just use your own social media to message about things, but we do have social media accounts at Profound Autism Alliance, and they're all, pretty good. We've got Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, all the social media tools, LinkedIn, although, LinkedIn's more of just like a professional thing, but you can use it. So we have all the different platforms, threads. So if you ever want to try to get messaging out on social media yourself, again, send me an email at advocacy@profoundautism.org. Tell me what you're thinking. Just do a little brain dump, and then we can do social media posts for your state. We can do action alerts that we share on social media, which is really kind of the 1-2 punch. So let's step back and talk about Ann's camera bill again. So we're doing for Ann a voter voice grassroots email that goes out through voter voice. And in that email, there's a button, right? An action alert that you push the button and then you contact your legislator through that button. we can take the link from that button and actually just put it in a social media post. And that can be shared, 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 shared. And that's usually what really drives up the action alerts. So if you do the 1-2 punch of, hey, I've got this email going out through Voter Voice, and then we're also using the Profound Autism Alliance social media platforms to send out that action to everybody in our state, and they can share it and take action, then that just can make it go viral. The key is you can't just look at it and like it on our page. You need to share it on social media too. So you need to share it if you're comfortable. If you're not, I'm not telling you to, but if you want to get stuff done, then you need to share it, and you need to ask your friends to share it. So then it gets that viral thing going again where people are taking action. Also, keep in mind too that if people don't like sending emails, their legislator's name and contact information pops up when you do these actions in Voter Voice. And so they could always call too if they'd rather. So it's there's no have to here, but that 1-2 punch of send an email through Voter Voice, and then let's also just put it out there on social media and get people sharing and resharing. A lot of legislators have Facebook pages and they're on there, they're on Twitter, which I mean, I hate to point you to Twitter because it can be so toxic. So, but if you wanted to go through our platforms at Profound Autism Alliance, just send us an email. Yes, ma'am, Miss Shannon. Are you muted? There we go. I think I asked you.
I'm here.
There you go.
I maybe am in the same boat as somebody else. I'm struggling with getting out there due to Autism Society being so prevalent in our state. I actually worked for Autism Society. Maybe again, maybe I'm the only one in this boat. Maybe someone else can identify, but they're really loud and strong, and I'm feeling really intimidated. And if you could just speak to that, maybe it's just me, so maybe we should connect one on one. Maybe not.
You know what? I'm glad. I love it when people kind of share how they're feeling in those ways. Like just in another kind of way, I had a mom reach out to me a few months ago saying she felt like she had imposter syndrome because her son with profound autism was really different from others with profound autism. And I'm like, no, 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 no. We support each other. So I really appreciate you saying that. It's normal and natural in the state where I am, Massachusetts. The arc of Massachusetts is really, they dominate everything. They have offices here, they have staff, they have lobbyists, so they're there all the time. I get it. So there are some loud voices like the ARC and the Autism Society, groups like that, that can really dominate or appear to dominate, what's happening in a state. What you have to do is over time become a credible voice that's connected, and that just takes time. It's not going to happen by you just showing up for one meeting or doing one post. It takes them getting to know you and getting to know other advocates. And again, that's why I'd say, again, there's strength in numbers. So utilizing the grassroots messaging system, and you're really good at this, Shannon. I know you are with social media posts, like you do a really good job of packaging those. Um, don't stop doing that. Just keep doing that. Stay focused on just one or two things. You
Okay.
don't want to be working on 10 different things because then they don't really know what you're about.
Correct.
But it takes time, credibility. I mean, I know right now in Indiana, there's a lot going on with like the Medicaid
Yes. Yeah.
stuff like that. So I've been seeing, and there's different coalitions there, and there's like a power struggle there too, and that happens in a lot of states. But I would just say for me, the mantra is keep going, keep messaging, use the tools to message, and try not to look to the left or the right, but just keep moving forward with your mission. That's what we have done federally, honestly, at Profound Autism Alliance. So I started going to Congress on Wednesdays, 3 years ago. And there's lots of other organizations that have been there forever, Autism Society, Autism Speaks, the ARC, they are all there. People have lobbyists. Like And I started going and visiting offices and talking about profound autism, just regularly, meeting with the staff. I try to go every Wednesday. Um, and there were times I'd be walking the halls thinking, does this even matter? Like, I'm walking around here talking to people, like, does it matter? And what I've found is, I've been doing it now for like 3 years. And now the offices call me, like the help committee staff. So the help committee in Congress, they call me to ask me, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? Because they know me now and they know how we operate. So we established ourselves with credibility, positivity, persistence. You can't just phone this in every once in a while. And I could try to sugarcoat it for you guys, but the reality is you do have to find a way to be present, consistently. You can't just jump in and out of this. And I know most of you are present, but if you can't be physically there, then you've got to find ways to touch those legislators and decision makers. And that is through these messaging platforms like emails, social media posts, all that kind of stuff. Um, Addison, I think you had your hand up, and then Anne, you had your hand up.
Um, so I do a lot of policy work around disability and in general, and then autism and child welfare stuff, just because here in Minnesota, and I just want to reiterate what you said about Autism Speaks and the Autism uh, Society of Minnesota, because Minnesota is also one of those states where we have a lot of really active disability and autism communities, and uh, there and being that I work in the policy world, I run into a lot of the other individuals who want to claim autism is all one thing, and
Yeah.
I have to sit on boards and commissions with them, and
Sure.
it takes a lot of keeping my mouth shut.
Yeah.
But just building up those relationships is like the most important thing you can do. I chair our Minnesota Council on Disability. Uh,
Wow.
and so I am currently in the process of setting up meetings with a lot of our legislators, and then our vice chair actually has a spinal cord injury and is good friends now with a lot of ours. So it really is just finding those people that back that work, and then also like with local representatives is finding, like, I live in a very red area despite me not being red at all, or and being the exact polar opposite. But he said one of his recommendations is finding the little things that you can find in common with them can be a huge help too. uh,
Sure. Yeah.
and like shockingly, they are proclamation stuff. I got a response back from um, both our House rep and our Senate are for the state, and then also from our governor. So I'm hoping that that'll cross here or will pass here. I should find out within the next couple
Yeah.
weeks, but Minnesota does things, it seems like, really different than every other state.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to like read or like uh agree with everything you guys had to say, because it couldn't be more true, especially here in Minnesota.
Yeah. I want to add something really quick to that too. So, when you talk about being intimidated, it's not even necessarily by legislators, but just by leaders and other groups who really, like I mentioned before, there can be that power struggle there. Don't get caught up in that.
Oh, I
Don't,
don't. I'm very good at being very
yeah.
cordial.
I'm not
And
saying you, Addison. No, I'm
no,
just
yeah,
saying in general,
but in general,
everyone.
it's so
It doesn't
easy to get
matter. In
caught
the
up in
grand
that.
scheme of things, like just focus on your work.
Yep.
Please don't waste your time fighting with other people. Obviously,
No.
if someone attacks you and is
Oh,
attacking
yeah.
integrity, then you should stand up for yourself. Otherwise, seriously, don't respond. Just do
No,
your work and let
exactly.
them, if they're there's just, yeah, and it happens. It's going to happen. If you're doing state advocacy, it's just going to happen.
Yep.
People are going to try to, do the power thing and, collaborate, as you were saying, Addison, like as much as you can, but then don't be afraid to work on what's important for this population. Our
Yep.
loved ones with profound autism, they need us. They're
Oh, yeah.
relying on us to do this. So anyway, and
We
did you have something else to say?
I was going to say, we actually are in the process of getting Lydia involved as well too with policy work, because and a lot of the uh boards and commissions and stuff that I sit on are as a parent of a child with autism, specifically because our kids are not included in those discussions. And
Right.
so I
Good.
think too, the more that when you're looking into state advocacy, the I don't know what other states boards and commissions if they're nearly as many as Minnesota has, but looking into getting involved in those can also be a really good way to like get your foot in the door
Yeah.
and make sure that like our kids have that voice. And then we're also connecting Lydia with the self-advocacy something network. So that
Good.
way, in whatever way possible, we can start working with her to be able to advocate for herself, which is almost nothing. She has very little language skills, but
Mm, very good.
I'm still going to drag her along to the state capitol all the time. So I
Well,
think too, if
advocacy
the more we
is,
can get our kids seen, the more it benefits
yeah, we talked about that
state
before.
level.
So advocacy isn't necessarily words or emails, like presence of
Exactly.
people with
Yeah.
profound autism, I think is the greatest form of advocacy there is. And that shouldn't mean that we should torture them and like drag them if they don't want to go. But like
Uh,
if you have a loved one with profound autism and they're going through a phase where they could get there or they could
yeah.
be on a Zoom with you, that
Exactly.
can really make a huge impression. So very important. So Anne, what were you going to say? And then Jennifer has something to say too.
I really appreciate everybody's input first. But I wondered what bills other people are working on. And
Yeah,
is
let's
anyone trying for cameras?
let's get to
Like what
that at
you
the
said.
end, if you
Okay.
guys don't mind. But that's a really good question. Because I want you to be guys to be able to compare. So don't let me forget, Ann. Let's get through the stuff and then let's talk about who's doing what. Jennifer, what did you want to share?
Hi. Um, it's been a little bit since I've been able to make it to a meeting, and the topic really grabbed me just because I guess I'm feeling a little, this might be too big of a broad of a question, but I'm feeling a little stuck. Um, I'm in Wisconsin, and I'm not sure if there's anyone else here, or I'm sure there's people in the network who are also here. And I guess I feel like I've been somewhat aware of some things on the federal level and been involved with reaching out to legislators, that I'm a constituent for folks, for the people who are on the federal level, but I I don't know where to start with the state level. And I mean, there's a couple things going on. One is I don't feel like I have a really good sense of maybe what kinds of initiatives or bills or things that are happening,
Mm-hmm.
but I also don't know if I would want that to stop. What I have heard a lot is like, it's not as so much about the specific thing as getting to know, I feel like I have, I'm comfortable building relationships and like, kind of getting to know people and all of that. And, I'm like, I'd love to do something like that on the state level, possibly involve my daughter and just
Yeah,
raise visibility,
yeah.
but I feel a little frozen. Like I'm not sure where to start. Like if I literally could just like go to Madison and show up and be like, hey, and walk around and like do that, or like what? I don't know.
Yeah,
That's so
that
broad
is.
question.
Yeah, no, it's a good question. And I think probably some others need to hear it too. So definitely go back to the other trainings. We had a training about identifying priorities that kind of helps you think like, okay, if I'm going to identify priorities, what should I be thinking about? What could I do? Sometimes in a state, like if you're just getting started, literally you might just want to do a proclamation, which seems like, well, that's not going to result in a big change in supports and services, but it just establishes a recognition of profound autism and it gets you meeting some legislators and then meeting you. So anyway, make sure and watch that establishing priorities thing if you haven't already. There's some slides in there too. And you guys, if any of you want to um, kind of get back together at some point in time after this training's over and talk through like follow-up questions like this and just do continued like state advocacy coaching, just let me know because we can always create just like a little get together to talk about what's going on and share. These are all such good comments and questions. And the other thing too about not knowing like necessarily everything that's going on in your state too. We're about to get to something about that. So sit tight. Okay. let's keep going. So one thing I wanted to say too is if you want a place to put, let's like a website home for your state advocacy, you can have one. Like we have those on our website. Let me see if I can show you. We have just a few. Hold on. I'm going to try to go to my desktop. Desktop. Okay. Okay. Hold on. Okay. Let's see. Okay. So I'm going to go to profoundautism.org. Oh, actually, you know what? I think I can just go right here. Okay. All right. So this page right here, profoundautism.org/advocacy/state advocacy. I'm sorry, that's so long, but this is in the slides for you guys, so you don't have to write all that down. If you just go to our website, too, and if you just go to advocacy and then go down to state advocacy, you'll end up here too. So easy ways to get there. This is like the state advocacy home base, and my map needs to load. There's supposed to be a map right now. Did you see where that map is loading? Hopefully that'll come back. Oh, there it is. Okay. So if you want to know what's going on in your state with profound autism, and right now, like this map doesn't look very active because it's early. So it's going to fill up. But let's say you're from California. So right now there's 2 bills in California that mention profound autism. Right
I
now.
don't see a map, Judith.
What?
I don't see a map.
You're not seeing it?
Yeah, I'm not either. Yeah.
Okay, let's try this again. Hold on. Do you see the map now?
No.
Okay, I'm gonna
No, I
stop
don't.
sharing and I'm going to redo it because I want y'all to see the map. Come on, map.
Oh, okay.
There.
Yeah. Now.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if you're we just keep trying. So this is on that state advocacy. So I went to advocacy, state advocacy for profound autism. Now watch, I just messed up the map because I clicked on it again. Let's see, it's thinking. Oh, I'm sorry. Hold on. Do y'all see the map?
Yes.
Okay, good. All right. So pick your state. So some states are not in session right now. So like David, like North Carolina, you guys are like summertime session,
Yeah.
or whatever. And this needs to, some of this stuff right now that it's lighting up with is stuff from last year. So this is kind of turning over right now. But let's just say you're from California. You can click on this. You got 2 bills. If you click on it, it tells you what they are. These are all about medical cannabis. So anyway, but you can go to this at any time and pick your state, and it will tell you if there's a bill that is about profound autism for you at any time. So, if you wake up in the middle of the night and you're like, I don't know what's going on in Illinois right now, or look at New York, what are y'all doing? You can do that. And then when you click on it, like you can see these bills are all from last year. So this is going to roll over to 2026, like in the next few days, really. But Kathy Hochul memorialized Profound Autism Day in the state of New York. Yeah. So anyway, you can click on that. That's there for you. So please, it's a great way to keep track of what's going on. The other thing I want to mention while we're on that state advocacy page on the website is learn more about your state. So I scrolled down a little bit. Are you seeing Connecticut, Texas, Oklahoma? And then you can scroll over. Indiana actually has a page too.
No,
So
not seeing any of that.
you're not seeing it. Okay.
I'm not.
I'm
No,
not.
she-
Yeah, I'm not either.
Y'all keep telling me. I'm just going to reload it because I want you to see this.
Okay, I see something different now. Yeah.
Okay. So there's the map. Are you seeing the learn more about your state and then Connecticut, Texas, Oklahoma?
No.
No, just you see just the the banner state
Yeah, it's
advocacy.
sort of the landing page. It just says state advocacy for profound autism.
Oh,
Autism, seeing
okay.
your state.
Well, darn. All right. I'm going to try one more time and then we're going to move on. Hold on. Because I'm not giving up. Here, I'm going to. Okay. So you're still not seeing. Okay. Are you seeing Connecticut now? Profound Autism Alliance Connecticut Advocacy?
No.
Okay, technical difficulties here. Oh, wait, let's stop. And then I'm going to start. Thank you guys for your patience. Okay. Where's my desktop? Here we go. Okay. Are you seeing Connecticut now?
Yes.
Okay. So this is an example of just a state advocacy page. So the Profound Autism Alliance advocates from Connecticut emailed me and they're like, we want to have our own page. It needs to be updated for 2026. So I've got to talk to them about that. But they had a bill that we send out some action alerts on. And it actually passed. So there's information about that. And then we just put an update. So if you want to have a state page where you put anything like your current action alerts or just news about what's going on in your state, or if you want to schedule meetings with other people from your states, we can do that. Like we can facilitate that. We have Zoom meeting platform that you can use. We can set up your own dedicated page. So you can see this is profoundautism.org and then you /Connecticut. So I could do Kentucky, I can do North Carolina, and you don't even necessarily have to have a bill for that. You can even just say, hey, do you guys want to get together and talk about what's going on in Oklahoma? So Oklahoma has a page actually. Let me see. I don't remember when the last time we updated it was. Are you seeing Oklahoma now?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I love it when things work.
I
So
need
there,
to I need to update it. And I was going to mention that remember Judith and we met with two bill sponsors last June and get an update on that bill, which has to do with workforce development, which are also trying to shoehorn in rehabilitation development in Oklahoma.
yes, yes. So if you want a page like this for your state, you don't have to do anything fancy. Just send an email to advocacy@profoundautism.org and say, hey, here's what's going on in our state. And we can take our little magic wand and create a page for you. And then when you want to add something to it or you want to change it, all you have to do is send me an email. And Christina will tell you sometimes you have to send me 2 emails or text me and be like, I need this right now. But I think it just lends to your credibility. You can be, when you're meeting with a legislator, you can say, oh, you can go to our website and you can use this link for your own profound autism advocacy page. Now, I will say, like, if you're going to be promoting a bill about murdering puppies, I'm not putting that on this page. Like, I have final say about what goes on here. It needs to be relevant to our mission, right? I'm not going to put, broader things that our focus at Profound Autism Alliance is advocating for things for people with profound autism. So it's going to be limited to that. I certainly encourage you to collaborate and work with other people, but the messaging that goes on here is all about profound autism. So, okay, thanks for struggling through that with me and my technical difficulties. All right, stop share. Let me get back to these beautiful slides. All right. Okay. All right. So let me know if you'd like a page for your state at any time, if you're thinking that would be helpful. And what I do too on those pages is I always date what the last update is. So then that way, you're like, I don't even know how old this is. I'll put like last updated June of 2025 or whatever, just so we know. All right. Yeah. And this is just showing you where it is. So if you're on the homepage of profoundautism.org and you go to advocacy and then go down to state advocacy, you click on that. And then there's a little scrolling carousel of states that do have pages right now. All right. This is super important to me and it kind of feeds into what we've already been talking about. And you guys have been great today, just in your comments and questions. But when communicating on behalf of Profound Autism Alliance or just in general, I want you guys to be effective. Like, if you are outraged or you're angry about something, I get it. Like I feel that way probably once a day at least. But what I know too is that's no way to advocate if you want to get things done. State legislators, federal legislators, they want to work with people who have solutions, ideas that are feasible, doable. They want to work with someone who is pleasant to work with. And I know, like, you may be looking for validation because, like, you're suffering and your child, your loved one is suffering, or the people you provide services for are suffering. Like, it's awful. There's discrimination, there's exclusion. Like, the reason we exist is because people with profound autism are being excluded, and they're falling behind, and they're falling behind in terrible ways. Like, their very lives depend on the healthcare, the education, the supports and services they need. So, I don't want to say I'm minimizing any of that. Like, we feel all that, but I'm just telling you, if you show up at the state capitol and your approach is outrage, there's so many other people with that same approach. Everybody's just shouting into the wind. So you want to always talk about your loved one with profound autism, with dignity. That doesn't mean you can't share what's going on with them. I mean, like, I'll just be honest, like, when we were working on autism cares federally, and this applies very much to, like, if you're working on a bill in the state, one thing we talked about in meetings, we were talking about being left out of research so you don't have solutions. I would talk very carefully in meetings with the healthcare aides or whatever about how my son has really life-altering self-injury, and he's been hospitalized, almost bled out one night. Like, these are really traumatic things. But I always try to couch those with who he is as a person. He's not just some self-injury blob. He's a dude. He's hilarious. And, I always kind of say, like, I even hate to share this, but I want you to know what's going on. He's not a prop. So just think about that as you're talking about your loved ones with profound autism. You want to get their stories out there, but do it in a way that respects their dignity. They deserve that. You want to be credible. I think we've talked about this example before, but as an example, for years and years and years, probably even to this day, people will say the divorce rate for families who have children with autism is 80%. You saw that everywhere. You know what? There's no research to support that stat. None. It does not exist. Right? So when you start throwing things out, you need to know where they came from. Even if you heard that from another organization, they might not have checked either. So be credible. You want to be the credible one. And if somebody, if you go on ChatGPT and find where that research came from, you let me know. But I'm telling you, the 80% thing doesn't exist. So don't be somebody who just throws out information without verifying it's true. Positivity, and I don't want to say that in a way that means you're just, I'm happy, everything's fine. No, like, we're advocating for a reason because things are terrible actually, but you just want to be like, the guys who in Dumb and Dumber are like, so you saying there's a chance. Like, you just want to be positive, you want to keep going. It's so important. And if you can do those things over time, first of all, it's very hard. It requires discipline. In this day and age, it's so easy to go on social media and see the outrage and respond with outrage, right? Like, and be in the comments, and then, you feel like that can feed into other kinds of communications you're doing. Don't get sucked into that. What that is doing to you is you're drinking poison. You're just drinking poison. Don't drink the poison. Be productive, be determined. You are a tool with all these other tools that we mentioned, voter voice, social media. None of that can happen without the most important tool, and that's people like you who are determined and positive that they're going to make change. And you will. So positive solutions-based messaging. I'm happy, as we're working on messaging with voter voice or with social media posts or anything you might be doing, that's my specialty. I'm happy to do that with you. Nonpartisan always. We are not red or blue. We can't be, actually, because we're a 501c3 nonprofit, so we cannot be affiliated with a political party. So, don't, even though deep down inside you might be like, oh, I hate this or I hate that. That's okay. Feel your feelings and live your life outside of this, however you want. But if you want to get things done, you really need to be nonpartisan. You do. So think about that in your approaches with legislators and regulators, because those parties of power change over time. You need to be able to work with everyone. And I'm not just saying that. I have worked with amazing Republicans in many states. I have worked with amazing Democrats in many states. I have worked with terrible Republicans in many states. And I've worked with terrible Democrats in many states. Like there's good and bad on all sides. There is. And if you want to debate me on that, then let's set up a one-on-one and I'll give you some examples. So anyway, nonpartisan approach if you want to be successful. Never attack other organizations or people, especially on social media. Don't attack legislators. Don't attack ASAN. Don't attack others. Just don't do it. It's a waste of your time and you're not focusing on moving the ball forward for the issue that you're working on. If you're sitting around criticizing other organizations or people, you're not advocating. You're just making noise. And if that's what you want to do it. But just know you're not going to get anything done. That is not the way to do it. And I say all this with really heavy duty conviction. And I do think that's what makes us effective, is because a lot of advocacy organizations and advocates are just all about the airing of grievances, and, just there's nothing wrong with protests or petitions or whatever. But around here at Profound Autism Alliance, we're about moving forward. And right now, like we're talking about, well, let's get proclamations done. And then some of you are already at the point where you're like, hey, let's draft a bill. We're just babies in this movement, and we've already gotten so much done. Last year, 15 states got proclamations. In the first year we tried, which is amazing, we got profound autism mentioned in federal legislation and appropriations in the Senate for the very first time. Like things are, and people are like, what, who are you? What is happening? So that's going to happen with all of you. If you focus on being effective, you can't give up. You got to keep going. It's not about outrage. It's not about being right or, suffering more than others. It's just about focusing on getting things done. And as I've said, I'm happy to help you work on those things if that resonates with you. We talked about before, like you can have your own page on the website if you want to. So this just reiterates that as well. You could do content, like you could write blogs, updates, action items. You have pictures that you want to put up. I'd love to do that for you guys. With any of this stuff, as I've said, I think probably too many times, it's easy. I don't want you to have to fill out a form or go here or there. With all the stuff we've talked about, just email advocacy@profoundautism.org and say, I want to set up a web page for Ohio, or I want to do an action alert about this bill, or I need help with my proclamation in my state, like whatever it is. It's so important. So anyway, sorry for going on and on about that, but as you can see, I feel very strongly about it. Okay, so Anne, you mentioned a very important question earlier, asking about what people are working on in their states. So Jack is going to be home in 5 minutes. So, and then I'll have to go feed him. So, he'll come down the stairs. And when he comes down the stairs, I've got to run. So I don't know, Christina, your face is on my screen right now. Do you want to say really quickly? Like you already kind of said Oklahoma,
Oh,
but you guys.
yeah, I kind of said, I'll say very quickly. We're trying to glom on to another one of our state senator and state representatives' bills where they are already advocating sort of more broadly for the developmentally disabled in our state. And I sort of seized on that, was like, yeah, well, while you're working on workforce development for the quote unquote high functioning population, can we also talk about dehabilitation? And we don't have it at all in our state. And add that to your existing bill, really trying to study high school transition outcomes and transitioning people successfully into life after high school, as opposed to falling off a cliff and being stuck at your house, which is really what my two sons are doing right now at ages 25 and 23. So I think other people can kind of relate to that in other states.
Yeah. Okay. Anybody else? Everybody's quiet. Ann, tell us about your bill. Oh, I think you're muted.
It's moving and nothing's coming out.
Mhm.
We don't have a sponsor yet. So the last 2 years we had a Democrat sponsor who said we need a Republican sponsor. So we're working on that. And but the good news is the long-term care ombudsman wants cameras in nursing homes this year and is looking for a sponsor and wants to include our bill with his.
Good.
And yeah, I think that's good.
Yeah, I think that's good too.
So
If we
he's an attorney. Yeah, he's their chief counsel we've been talking to, and well, anyway.
Okay.
So
do you guys want to get together and just talk about state advocacy every once in a while? We do have our Profound Autism Advocacy Network meetings that are just about federal and state. But if you guys want to ever just get together and compare notes, we could set up a Facebook group if you guys want to share bill language with each other. If you're interested in that, email advocacy@profoundautism.org and we can set that up so you guys can talk to each other outside of these conversations. Yeah. All right. Well, I will send around the recording and the slides, and then I'll also just send around all the other recordings and slides too, and sort of a summary of what we've talked about in these meetings for you guys. But I think the most important thing for me to know is that you feel supported, because state advocacy is critical. We have to create an effective, positive army across the country for our loved ones with profound autism. The cavalry's not coming. Nobody's going to do this for us. And I think all these conversations we're having right now, we're like, oh my God, like, oh, 10 years from now, we're going to look back and be like, remember when we had no idea what we were doing and we weren't even sure where to start? That's how this all starts. So this is the beginning of a movement. Yes, that's right, Anne. We are the cavalry. I love that. Okay.
Go get yourself a cup of coffee before he gets home.
Oh, I've got my Dr. Pepper.
Oh,
So
okay,
good. Yes. Yeah. But he's going to come home and he's going to want to talk about his schedule. And there's no, like, you guys would have to listen to us talk about the schedule like 10 times in a row. So the schedule is actually, he has adult services tomorrow and then he has doctor's appointment tomorrow. And so anyway, all right. Okay.
Good luck.
Thank you guys for making time. Check your emails tomorrow for the notes and everything. And then if you need anything, we're here. Thank you guys.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
All right, thank you.
Thank
Hey,
you.
everybody.
Nice.
Bye.